Welcome to Marriage on the Rock.
Hello, hello.
Marriage on a rock.
On the rock.
Marriage on a rock.
On the rock.
Marriage on a rock.
On the rock.
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 Hello, hello. We are so glad that you
Good evening.
tuned in. We are your hosts, Jessica and CT Johnson.
That's us.
We are live. We're so glad that you are here with us. I hope
Indeed.
you all had an awesome week on this week.
Yes.
And
indeed.
so welcome. As you come in, share, like, YouTube, share as well. And also when you come in, please like the page.
Like the page.
Interact with us. Let us know
Interact
that
with
you
us.
are here. Say hello, where you're from, all
Greet
of
us
that good,
that we
good
may
stuff.
greet you.
Yes. So welcome again. I'm telling you, we have a powerful show on tonight. So you want to stay tuned, okay? So don't leave us.
Don't leave.
Stay so you can know what's going on.
You said you
Lord
never
have
leave.
mercy.
Anyway,
My earring got a spirit.
I don't know with my wife and these earrings.
I
Listen,
don't-
we were so excited to
Yes.
be with you all on tonight that I forgot to do what I told myself to do, and that
What
was
is
to
that?
show our intro video.
Oh, I know.
We forgot to show our intro video. We jumped right
Lord
into
have mercy.
greeting you all. And listen, we are just excited to be with you to discuss Marriage on the Rock, to
Yes.
give you tips,
Mhm.
to give you God's perspective
Yes.
on how to transition your marriage from the rocks to the
the
rock. Well, tonight we're actually going to discuss 15 signs, 15 markers that
That your marriage is on the
that your
rocks.
marriage, I lost my train of thought.
Uh-huh.
15 markers, 15 signs that display,
Mhm.
that reveal
Right.
your marriage is on the rocks, that
Almost
you're
over.
almost
Mhm.
over, that you're on the verge of divorce, that you're on the
Right.
verge of exiting each
Mhm.
other's life. And so we came across a powerful article that provided these 15 markers, these 15
Right.
signs that we trust will be of benefit to
Mhm.
helping
Yes.
those of you who are having issues and difficulties. And you can't, dear, obtain the solution
Mhm.
until you identify the
Right.
problem.
That's
See,
right.
you have to identify the problem, and we're not always skilled
Mhm.
at peeling back the onion,
Right.
going beyond the surface, detecting and discovering
Mhm.
the root
Exactly.
of the
The
matter.
cause of it. Right.
And so, again, there is no solution until you are able to identify the problem, the cause,
Mhm.
and then you go from there
Right.
and go through the processes of identifying the proper solution based
Right.
upon the root cause.
Because there is hope. I mean, in regards
There
to it.
is hope. There
Mhm.
is hope. There is hope. And that's what we're here for, to
Yes.
remind
Right.
those who are in the thick of it regarding their marriage that there
Mhm.
is hope.
Oh yes.
And if you both are willing to do your part,
Mhm.
if you both are dutiful in what is required.
You said the key word both.
Yes,
Both.
yes, you exactly.
Mhm.
One person fighting for the marriage
Exactly.
will not resolve
Right.
the conflict, will not mend
Mhm.
what is and or has caused the breach. You both have to be willing to engage. You
Mhm.
both have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and
Yes.
get in the fight,
And
get
work.
in the
Right.
ring, work versus
Mhm.
exiting.
Right.
So let's go to the was supposed to be the intro video, and then we will be back
We'll be
to
back.
discuss where we're going tonight. All right.
While the last thing that you want to think about is a marriage meltdown, the truth is that you can see your once happy relationship now heading to a point of no return. If you wish to save your marriage from falling apart, you don't just need to do some soul searching, you need to identify the real reasons contributing to it. By recognizing the reasons that resonate with your state of marriage, you can stop going in circles and take the corrective actions to reconnect with your spouse and recommit to a healthy marriage. By deep diving into your relationship's dynamics, you can closely examine these red flags that signal the breakdown of a marriage. Stonewalling or withdrawing during arguments is a common defense tactic used by one of the partners that is a key predictive of their lower level of satisfaction with the relationship. Clearly, there is no empathy left in your relationship, and your marriage lacks compassion. Is this a regular occurrence during your arguments with your partner? Lopsided sex drives in a marriage can wreck the relationship with tempers flying high in the bedroom, leaving little or no spark left between the sheets. If you are very sexual and enjoy initiating and engaging in sex, while your partner shows you a thumbs down, there can be a significant amount of frustration creeping in the marriage. Infidelity is often a byproduct of sexual incompatibility. Before you know it, dealing with sexual desire disparities in a marriage can transform your love paradise into an inferno tower. Setting unrealistic expectations in a marriage is the biggest roadblock to happiness in a marriage. By holding your partner guilty of not measuring up to your idea of a perfect significant other, you end up taking a deviation from nurturing your relationship. By putting your partner in the docks, you can end up successfully impairing a perfectly happy relationship. If you look down on your partner and criticize them for their actions or perceived lack of insight or intelligence, you are on the fastest route to an imminent split. While contempt for your spouse in marriage reflects your own dissatisfaction in the relationship, it is also going to shatter your partner's sense of confidence and affect their mental well-being, giving birth to a host of marriage problems that will infest your relationship. These are just some of the telltale signs of an unhappy marriage on the brink of a fallout. So are you willing to take the high road to salvage your marriage, or overlook these signs to let your marriage fall apart? Your marriage is built upon your efforts and actions. Make the judgment call now.
Well, all right.
Wow. What do you think about the video?
Let us know what you thought about that
Yes.
supposed to have been intro video. Let us know. We thought that that video was perfect as it pertains to where we're going tonight, sharing with you 15 signs that your marriage is on the rocks, that your marriage is on the verge of ending.
Right.
In the video, they gave 6 reasons that your marriage might be turbulent, rocky, that your marriage might be in trouble. And really, I believe all of the 6 that they discussed, we're actually going to deal with in the 15. And so one thing, dear, I appreciated near the end of the video, the narrator said that your marriage is your responsibility as it pertains. And listen, hashtag that. Your marriage is your responsibility. It's not God's.
Right.
And especially for those of us who are Christians and or believers, we have that misconception, that misunderstanding that God is responsible for maintaining our marriage. No.
Right.
God will assist. God will guide. God will do whatever we enable and permit him to do as it pertains to strengthening our marriage and safeguarding it. However, God is not solely responsible for our marriage being maintained, it growing, it developing. And I tweeted and made a Facebook post maybe a month or so ago that God may have joined you together as it pertains to your marriage, but it's your responsibility to keep it together. What do you say about that?
I think sometimes, in most cases, we don't want to work because you may be lazy. We may be lazy. We don't want to put the time in it. And like you said,
because marriage is work.
Because it is.
Regardless of what
it is. It is work. You have to put effort. You have to be intentional in regards to working on it. day by day. And so it's going to take the both of you to do something about it,
Right.
and not just putting it on God, and not just putting it on one person,
Exactly.
on just
Exactly.
one
A
spouse.
marriage consists of
Of
two
two,
people, two
right?
individuals,
Exactly.
not
Exactly.
one, not
But
one.
two.
If you're not ready to work with
Mm-hmm.
someone, if you're not ready to become a co-laborer
Right.
with them
Mm-hmm.
regarding your marital
Mm-hmm.
relationship, then stay single.
Oh yeah.
Stay single.
Well,
If you are not willing to do your part
right. Do your due
and what's
diligence.
required of you as it
Mm-hmm.
pertains to making the marriage work. So
Exactly.
tonight, are you ready to
I'm
jump
ready.
into this? We're
I'm
going to
ready.
jump into the 15
Yes.
signs, 15 markers that your marriage is on the rocks. All right.
Yes.
And we're going to kick it off with number
See how
15.
it slides.
We're going to kick it off. Y'all know I'm all about my slides. We're going to kick it off with 15. Let's bring us here so you all can see. All right. Number 15. Number 15, you try to create a facade.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Go ahead.
And
Discuss
then
this. You see here, hold on, quick side, well, not sidebar, but disclaimer, I guess. Fake news. So each slide has a picture uh, uh, to help you picture, to help you develop
right.
an image of what we're saying,
Right.
so that you can envision the marker, as it were. And so number 15, you try to create a facade. Fake news. You're presenting an image
Right.
of your marriage that does not exist.
And
What say
I looked
ye?
up the word facade, and it says an outward appearance that is maintained to conceal a less pleasant or credible reality.
Outward
So
appearance.
it's all for show,
That's
pretty
good.
much,
Yeah.
for the public. And you pretend that everything is okay when it really isn't.
Right.
Okay.
There are underlying
Mhm.
issues,
Right.
unresolved issues, and behind closed doors,
Mhm.
in private, you're at each other's throat.
Right.
Or even if you're not at each other's throat,
Mhm.
there is no positive
Mhm.
communication, there's no beneficial
Right.
communication. But when you're out in public for the purpose of saving face
Mhm.
and or to keep up your image,
Exactly.
you're presenting fake news.
Fake
You're
news.
presenting a
It's a
facade.
sham.
It's a sham. It's a sham. And what tonight's broadcast is all about is helping you to see the signs,
Mhm.
helping you to detect the
Right.
signs. Because dear, there are individuals, there are couples that aren't
Oh
cognizant
yeah.
of the reality
Right.
that their marriage
Mhm.
is heading down a path
Exactly.
of destruction.
Yes.
Because for some people, the facade is the norm.
Mhm.
That's what they were taught.
Mhm.
Uh, to regardless of what's going on in your
Right.
marriage, you never let people outside of your
You
marriage
smile while
know
you're just
exactly.
crying and hurting
And
on the
there's
inside.
truth to that as it pertains to you not disclosing everything
Oh yeah.
that you're going through
Mhm.
to family and friends. But you can only play the part
So long.
for so long
Mhm.
before you push the actor out the
Mhm.
way,
Right.
or the character. You push the character out the way, and the actor,
Mhm.
the real person, actually shows up.
Right.
So 15, number
15.
15, you try to create a facade. All right. Number 14.
What is number 14?
Number 14, relationship fails to foster individual growth.
Mm.
Your relationship fails to foster individual growth. Now, I like this. You see, support is the image here. And so that's the essence
Right.
of this marker. That is when you fail to support your
Mhm.
spouse in their endeavor.
You don't want them to succeed.
You don't want to go
You
ahead.
try to
Yeah.
sabotage.
You try to
You know.
sabotage, you try to undermine. They come to you and inform you of, even case in point, you could tell them about your desire to change careers, professions from
Right.
cosmetology.
Yes.
Go ahead, go ahead.
To
Let's put this slide up so
uh,
they can see you up close.
uh, several years ago because I was doing hair. Have my
She's
license
a
for
licensed
cosmetologist.
cosmopolitan.
Well, translation cosmetologist.
Licensed cosmetologist.
Okay. And so a couple of years later, several years later, I felt a pull in regards to changing my career and getting a degree in psychology and Christian counseling. And I remember when I brought it up to my husband, and
That made me.
he didn't say, okay, well, why the change? Well, he did ask as far as the change or so, but he didn't discourage me. He said,
Right.
okay, well, if this is where if you feel led to do this, I'm supporting you. I'm
Just
behind you.
follow through.
Just follow through
Right.
in regards to what you're going to do. And he did, and he supported me all the way through. And I have my degree in
She does.
psychology and Christian counseling. And so I must say that he has been there when I have had those times when I changed my mind at times, and I felt led in a certain
Felt led. She
in
got
a
to throw that in there. You could
I
tell
felt
she's
led in a certain area.
raised in the church. She felt led. But to your point, you entered into the cosmetology field. Why are you smiling like that? You entered into the cosmetology field early in our marriage, around about 2007, somewhere in there. No, 2005, 2006.
Right.
And we had been married at that time 2 years because we got married in 2003.
Right.
You changed your professional goals. This is what, 2022, probably maybe 2020, somewhere in there.
Maybe a little earlier than that.
Early,
yeah.
2018. But my point is,
it was a gap.
years
Right.
pass, and what married folk fail to realize is who you were and what you desired and where you were mentally and emotionally when you first got married. You won't be there in 5 years,
That's so
10
true.
years, 15 years. And so you
That's a
have
good
to
point.
give your spouse, you have to give each other
Right.
space to grow and to find themselves,
Right.
to define themselves. And so I couldn't say, well, you said 8 years ago, 10 years ago,
Right.
you want to be a cosmetologist, and now
Right.
you want to be, now you want to be a counselor and things of that nature. So if you are experiencing number 14, where your spouse and or you fail to foster
Right.
individual growth. Now, we're not talking about you having a flaky spouse where every 2 months
Yeah.
you want to change careers.
Right.
No, we need you
Yeah.
to develop
Yes.
longevity. All right. We need you to
Stability,
lay
come on
stick
now.
and stay.
Right.
But if you find yourself not being supportive and not fostering individual growth, that's a sign, that's a marker that if you don't deal with it. Now, we're not saying that your marriage is heading for divorce. It's inevitable. No, it's the small foxes that
Right.
spoil the vine. So if you don't deal with this, if you don't realize that, hey, I'm not supportive as maybe I used to be, or I'm not supportive at all, you have to assess where you are, not necessarily your spouse. You have to assess where you are in your marriage and make those
Right.
adjustments.
Because you have to realize too, even in a marriage, when he succeed, I succeed, and vice versa.
Right.
And so
That's
what
good.
affects him affects me,
Right.
and
Because
vice
you're
versa.
one. You're no
Because
longer
one.
two.
Yeah.
You're one.
And some people don't see that,
They don't
have
realize that.
that mindset.
Exactly.
So when you're pulling him down, you're actually pulling
You're pulling
yourself
yourself
down.
down. That's
So,
good. That's very good. All right. Number 13. Let's move. Number
All right, we
13,
rolling.
children become the top priority in your lives. Now, you see mom, you see children, sister, brother, but you don't see dad. Now, it's not always the mother that becomes overwhelmed or engulfed with the children. Most times it is. Most times it is. But I chose this particular picture to help us drill number 13, because you can see that they're endeavoring to bake something, there's some
Mhm.
flour on the
But you don't see
table or
the
what have you, but you don't see the dad.
daddy.
This is an activity that could
Right.
involve
Mhm.
everyone. Now, we're not going to talk about the possibilities that surround this picture. We're using this picture for the sake
Mhm.
of validifying our point in
Right.
number 13, and that is most couples, uh, and from my experience in counseling those, is generally those that have children early on in their marriage.
Mhm.
In when we give marital counseling, especially to those that have never been married before, no children. Of course, we know God has the final say as it pertains to life, but we encourage them, if possible, to at least spend the first few years
Yeah.
of your marriage
Mhm. Learning
getting to know
yeah,
each
learning each
other
other. Right.
and learning your roles and your
Mhm.
responsibilities, and just figuring out
Mhm.
life together
Right.
as a married couple. Because once you add children, that's a whole new level of responsibility. And children do require
Mhm.
your attention, they require your focus.
Mhm.
And there are times, and it's very easy to neglect each other
Right.
because you are focused on other lives that aren't capable of taking
And
care
then
of
sometimes I've
themselves.
heard of couples who become nesters.
Empty nesters. Mhm.
And so when the kids leave, then they don't know, they don't have
They
nothing to talk
have
about. They don't have no
nothing in
connection.
common
Right. And they
because
don't know
they centered their entire
exactly.
marriage
There was
around
no
the children.
balance.
Right.
Hmm.
They didn't take time for themselves.
Right.
Um, they did not take advantage
Hmm.
or make time
Hmm.
to maintain the relationship between he and she. And so that's number 13. Children become the top priority in your lives. And of course, this is for married couples that have children.
Hmm.
Um, Number 13. All right. Number 14. And as you're coming in, as we
Number
go to number
12.
12, yes, I can't count.
Hmm.
As we go to number 12, share, share, share.
Yes.
We're dealing with 15 signs that your marriage is on the rocks.
Hmm.
And again, we're not saying that if these signs are showing up in your marriage, that your marriage is in imminent danger.
Oh no.
If you don't handle
Hmm.
the issue, if you don't address the issue,
Yes.
then your marriage definitely
You
will
have to do
end
something. Right.
in divorce. Eventually,
Hmm.
you're going to separate. But even before you get to the divorce aspect of it, on paper or in reality, you've divorced mentally, you've divorced
You done checked
emotionally.
out.
You
Right.
right, you've
Yeah.
already checked out.
So interact with us and let us know if you have
Yes,
questions, comments, put it in the
let us know if you're being helped, if you are gleaning from what we're sharing on tonight. So number 12, dear, you go ahead and read number
okay.
12.
Number 12 is both of you start leading your own separate lives.
Yeah.
And this is a biggie too, as well.
Hey, you do you,
You do you, boo. I'm gonna do
I'll
me.
do me. All right. Going to the
We have an agree right.
same place,
Mm-hmm.
driving separate cars
Mm-hmm.
for no legitimate
Mm-hmm.
reason.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want to be in the presence of each other. And as
Mm-hmm.
you can see in our picture here, the husband is going in one direction, leaving
Mm-hmm.
the wife there. And I really like this for the sake of for the sake of an analogy, because leading your separate lives can mean that, in regards to the picture, the husband refuses to be a part
Mm-hmm.
of the wife's interests
Right.
and said, well, no, this is what you want to do, fine. You
You
do it.
do
I'm
it.
going to leave you here
Mm-hmm.
because that's not me. And marriage is compromise.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Marriage is comprised
Yes.
of compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage consists of compromise. There are things that I like to do. There are things that interest me. There are things that intrigue me that my wife is not necessarily as passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
as interested
Mm-hmm.
in, and vice
Vice versa.
versa.
Right.
But you have to understand that, again, if your marriage is going to be successful from God's perspective. Okay, we have to
Right.
make sure we continue to
Yes.
insert that,
Yes.
because too many of us are defining success in marriage from, again, Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
from Hallmark,
Hallmark,
from
Lifetime.
Lifetime,
Yes.
or from your mama them, your daddy them, Aunt Mary them, who've been married 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and what they displayed
Right.
before you was number 15,
Mm-hmm.
fake news. It
Right.
was a facade.
Mm-hmm.
What do you desire to add here?
You said it.
You
You said it. You said it. I got the next one.
don't have anything? All
You
right.
said it.
Number 11. Number
Yes.
11. Sexual compatibility disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, you started off, and then I'm going to do the flip side of it.
Want me to do all the
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
heavy lifting.
I'm going to use you.
So sexual compatibility disappears. In essence, what number 11 is that you no longer desire your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer desire to have sex with the person that you are legally able to have sexual intercourse with
Right.
no judgment, with no fear of retribution or punishment from God, because marriage is
Mm-hmm.
honorable and the bed
That's what he said
is
in his word.
undefiled. And
Mm-hmm.
so, number 11, if this is not dealt with, you can open
Door to
various doors.
yes. Yes.
You will present yourself with with a plethora of temptations
Mm-hmm.
that more than likely sooner or later you will succumb to.
You're gonna have Susie down the
Yeah,
street
sexual
or Maxwell over
compatibility.
there.
Mhm. Somebody. And
Somebody.
so, what
Mm-hmm.
is important that we want you all to understand as we go through all of these signs is communication.
Right. Right.
Communication. You need to, and let me say this, not all communication that is necessary to have in a marriage is easy to have.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put my bell up, but
Mhm.
that was bell worthy.
Mhm.
Not all conversations that you need to have within your
Right.
marriage and should have aren't always
Right.
easy. And so if you are finding yourself not being attracted to your spouse, then you need to inform them of
Mhm.
that as respectful as you can,
Yes.
honest, but as respectful as you
Yes.
can. Let's say it's weight, and you didn't marry them, and I'm not talking about, uh, you know, someone that has pushed out your children solely. We were not talking about pregnant weight, but you marry initially what you're attracted to.
Mhm.
And so all of our bodies are going to go through changes,
Oh yeah.
all right, over the years. Okay,
Mine.
mm, whatever. Nobody's body stays exactly
Right.
how it was when you got
Mhm.
married.
Exactly.
Okay, right. So let's understand that.
Mhm.
But if, for instance, me, I never have been attracted to obese women. Never have been. Never have been. So I married a woman that I was attracted to, size wise, physicality wise. So if over the years something happens and she becomes obese, then and that obesity affects my sexual attraction, then I need to be honest. Is that you looking to- But now here, see, there are some spouses. I know you gave
Uh-huh.
that look. You're joking and being jovial, but
Right.
there are some spouses that don't make it. I don't want necessarily easy, but they don't they make it more difficult than what it has
Mhm.
to be. Um, so go ahead, share your thoughts
And then too,
here.
on the flip side too of that as well, it could be a medical issue too. So that's where communication comes in. It could be painful for the woman.
That's
So
true as it
you
pertains to
why in regards
why
to
your spouse is not desiring
hmm
sex. And so it's not necessarily that they're not, in some instances, it's not necessarily that they're not attracted to you anymore.
Right.
It's just because of what they're dealing with physically or health-wise that they hadn't disclosed.
Right, exactly. And then
They're not interested in
right.
sex at
And then they
all.
may not feel comfortable with sharing it with the person, the spouse. And so, but you do need to
You need to.
communicate. You have
Because
to.
if you don't, then that spouse is left up to
Mhm.
assumption.
Right.
They're left up to assuming that
Exactly.
you don't want, that you're not interested in sex because
Right.
you aren't attracted to them.
Exactly.
When the truth of the matter is, you're dealing with an illness or a physical ailment, as it were,
Right.
that you're not being honest about. Good evening, Evelyn.
Good
Hey,
evening.
hope you and the family are doing well.
Hey, Mama.
All right. Anything else you want to add there?
No. Keep it rolling.
All right. So number 11 is sexual compatibility disappears. Number 10. Boop, boop, boop. Here we go. Secret keeping categorizes your relationship.
Not being honest.
Not being honest, not disclosing pertinent information such as health issues.
Yeah.
Let's deal with this, because if you have if you're married, now we're not talking about you spilling your beans or somebody that you're dating and you have no purpose, or not purpose, but you have no desire to marry. I'm not telling you, but you telling all your business, because then you might not get nobody. But
well,
but we're talking about in marriage.
Right.
So what we're discussing is in the context of marriage. So if I go to the doctor for a routine checkup or what have you, or I go to the doctor because I'm not feeling well, and then they end up in tests and in all of what they do, find the underlying issue, there's something serious. I am obligated to tell my wife, because remember what we shared with you earlier. God said, as it pertains to husband and wife, you're no longer one, no longer two, but you're one. And remember what you said, that what we do to ourselves or fail to do for ourselves affects eventually each other. And so you are obligated. Husband is not about you feeling emasculated, and because the truth is, I can't trust my husband. Well, unless something happened within the marriage to violate that trust, you should never marry someone that you don't initially trust.
You have some people that don't feel comfortable with sharing in regards to those issues of what's going on with their bodies. They don't feel comfortable with sharing it.
That's true.
With their spouse.
And one of the reasons why is it could be the reaction of the spouse. You handle what was shared to you trivially. I don't think I said that right, but you handle it, or you respond in a trivial manner or a childish manner. You know,
take it serious,
you're insensitive as it pertains to what
you lacked empathy.
Exactly. You lack empathy and all of that. And so, hey, Mom.
Honesty is the key. That's right.
Honesty is the key. Honesty is I didn't see that
yes,
there.
Yes.
Well, we love the interaction. We love the interaction.
Key.
Honesty is the key. Honesty is the key. And
hey, Mama.
And let me add, not being brutally honest, or honest to the point where you're disrespectful or you don't consider the feeling of the other. Because now the truth hurts sometimes. And it really doesn't matter how you say it, it's still going to sting. But you can always tell when someone is sharing the truth with you in love, or if they're being vindictive, if they're being jabby, they're endeavoring to jab you and things of that nature. So number 10 is secret keeping categorizes your relationship. Anything else you want to add there? So let's just scratch the surface a little deeper. So if you're keeping secrets, because remember, we're sharing 15 signs that your marriage is on the rocks. So if you're keeping secrets on purpose, if you're keeping secrets, and we're not talking about good secrets, birthday party, wedding anniversary, the fact that you're pregnant and you're waiting, the wife to the right time, to tell your husband, you're trying to set up
That's different.
a
That's
surprise
that's different.
to break the news. No, we're talking about you're hiding as far as you got $15,000 in another bank account. The devil is allowed. Slap yourself.
The devil is like, you don't know that.
Because having that amount of money stashed and you don't inform your spouse, you're planning to do something with that.
What are you planning on doing?
Yeah.
Are you planning on getaway?
Is that an exit strategy?
Are you buying a house? For yourself?
What's going on there?
Going on?
And so we're talking, you see classified, top secret. You see the image there. And really, there should be no secrets among us.
Right.
Now, we may have secrets as it pertains to not telling our family something, not telling friends something.
And then you got some people, some spouses, they tell somebody else other than their spouse. So they're telling a secret that should have been shared with their spouse. Yeah. They're telling it to the wrong person. You need to be sharing it with your spouse.
Yeah.
So,
and again, that's a sign that there is an unresolved issue in your marriage, an unresolved issue that you have with your spouse, or it could be an unresolved issue that has nothing to do with your spouse.
Right.
It could be an unresolved issue that you have with your parents, with an ex-spouse that you never dealt with, that you never handled, that you never rectified, and you brought that suspicious activity into your marriage, and you kept the secret from Lulabelle because maybe you had legitimate reasons, from keeping from Henry that you had $15,000 because Henry would go take it and blow it. But Henry's dead. Now you've married Chuck.
My Lord.
And so you just carried that secret, that secret activity over, forgetting that you're not married to Henry, you're married to Chuck. All right. We're trying to protect the innocent in our fictitious names. All right, number nine. Number nine. You doubt whether your spouse is the right person. You see the question mark? This guy is like, oh, Jesus.
My goodness.
You're like, I should have married Lisa.
Right. What did I get myself into? Why?
And I'm laughing, having a little fun. Why? But these are, listen, we've been married this year 19 years. I've been in ministry December 29 years. And you have been in ministry with me all of our marriage.
Right.
Because when we got married, I was in ministry.
We're going on 19 years.
And we're talking from experience. We've counseled. I've counseled and talked to individuals that said, hey, I married the wrong person. But let me just throw this out. Marrying the wrong person is not necessarily a reason for divorce, because if God was endeavoring to tell you and you ignored him, then hey, now we're not talking about we're not talking about you're being slapped upside the refrigerator and abused and habitual cheating and things of that nature, but something that's not that extreme, and you realize, well, can it work? Have you done everything to make it work? And this is why we always tell people, don't be so quick to jump the broom.
Right.
If the soles of your feet are itching that bad to jump the broom, take your hind parts to Walmart. Go into the cleaning section, buy you a broom, a good old-fashioned broom, not these new modern brooms. Get you a good old whisk broom, like my grandma. Throw it on the floor. Listen, you don't even have to buy it. If the soles of your feet are itching that bad to jump the broom, go to Walmart, throw the broom on the Walmart floor, and jump over it, pick it up, and put it back on the shelf.
It's not the same.
Well, buy it, take it home, throw it across the threshold. Because I'm telling you, marriage is not to be entered into lightly. It is not to be entered into without right counsel. It's not, because many people could have avoided these signs if they took their time, if they if they paid attention to the
Mm-hmm.
signs that
was,
God
yeah.
was giving them through their mama, telling them
Mm-hmm.
that
Because
Negro,
there
I'm
was
sorry,
some warning
that
signs.
person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you want to share here? You doubt whether your spouse is the right person. You start thinking about
You're
the
questioning,
ex.
right? And that's what I said. You start thinking about Maxwell. What
Who is Maxwell?
I don't
Is
know.
that one?
That
Is
just
that
that
one
just
of?
came to my.
Are you
No,
confessed?
I don't know who Maxwell is.
See, we didn't date, but that's a whole nother
but
discussion when we talk about dating. Should saints date and all of that?
but
Because,
yeah,
well, anyway, that's a whole
that's a
nother
whole different.
broadcast.
But yeah, you start thinking about what would be the possibility of
How life would have
how
been
life would have been
so much
with
different
that.
and better.
Right, right. So that is a
Mm-hmm.
JT said time to seek.
No, finish
Time
your
to
thought.
seek.
You in the comments. Get out the comments.
No,
Get
you
out the
said time to
comments.
seek counsel. That's right, bro. Time to seek godly counsel. But yeah, so
No, that's your father. That's not just the
is that?
junior.
Oh, that's
That's
my daddy.
just the
Hey, daddy.
senior.
Hey, daddy.
See there, if
But
you stay
yeah.
out these comments, stay out the comments and focus on your comment.
But Lord, but yes, that is a biggie in regards
All
to
right, let me let y'all see us for a minute.
whereby you're questioning,
Mm-hmm.
the other person
Yeah,
of a boyfriend or an ex.
that's good.
And so yes, so
Mm,
that's an issue. That's a problem.
I'm telling you. All right,
That
we're
is a
about
problem.
to we're winding down. We're about to share
Yes,
number 8.
yes.
As you come in, we are talking about discussing
Mhm.
regarding 15 signs that your
Right.
marriage is on the rocks, that your marriage is
It's on the verge of being
unstable,
over.
that
Right.
you have unresolved issues and that need be
Mhm.
addressed. We said earlier, those of you that are coming in, one, do us a favor and share. Share.
Yes.
Listen, you may not be married, not desiring marriage anytime soon. So
Mhm.
this discussion may not pertain to you, may not benefit you, but it more than likely can and will benefit someone that you know. So
Right.
share
So
it, get it out
share,
there on your
yes.
timeline. All right.
Let
And
somebody
then
know.
again, we encourage you to interact with us in the comments. If you
Mhm.
have questions as it pertains to what we've discussed so far, we're up to number 9. We started from
Mhm.
15, working our way down to 1. We're about to jump into number 8. The 15 signs that your marriage is on the rock, that is shaky. And what I was about to say prior to encouraging you all to share as you come in is that, again, remember we said that it's the small foxes that spoil the vine.
Mhm.
And so many times we overlook these signs
Oh yeah.
because we don't think that they're significant. We
Mhm.
don't think that they're major. And they may not be major at the moment,
Right. Right.
huh? But if you don't deal with it, then when it exposes
Mhm.
itself, if we see, which we won't, not in our house because we don't play that, but if and then there are people who are very clean and neat, and if you moved into a new subdivision and they clear it out,
Mhm.
the woods, trees, and what have you, the rodents
Mhm.
migrate over because their habitat has been
Right.
disturbed. But if we see a mouse in our house, we're not going to overlook it. Talk about, oh, it's just one.
Oh.
And that's what we do,
Yes.
especially, unfortunately, Christians.
You just sweep it up on the rug.
We sweep it
It's
under the rug, or we don't
okay.
pay attention, or
Mhm.
we say, it's insignificant. But that one mouse
Mhm.
can indicate several possibilities
Mhm.
that a litter
Right.
has been,
Ooh.
you can tell my wife doesn't like mice,
Mm.
that a litter has been born,
Mhm.
and it's only a matter of time
Right.
before you start seeing 2, 3, 10, 15.
And some people don't want to deal with it because they just don't. Some people are checked out, whereby they just don't. They don't care. It's like
Yeah. But we need to peel back the onion again and find
right.
out
But the
what
root is
got you to
Mhm.
that point where
Right.
you are checked out. And
Mhm.
that's why we are dealing with these, because these going from 15 on down to where we are now, number 9,
Mhm.
if these signs aren't identified and recognized and dealt with, it will lead to checking out.
Oh
And
yeah.
so no one wakes up in a marriage and just checks out unless they
Mhm.
literally have
Right. It's something that happened
mental
over
illness.
time, gradually.
Something
Mhm.
happened,
Right.
and it may not necessarily be with your actual spouse. It could be, again, something that transpired from another relationship,
Right.
something, a trauma. Sorry, let me cut you
And
off.
it carried over.
They carried over because they didn't deal with it then.
Right. Right.
And so, because trauma grows with you.
And they brought that baggage over to the marriage.
Exactly. All right. I think we
Let's go
have
to number 8.
dealt with that sufficiently.
Number 8.
Number eight.
Yes.
You both refuse to make things work. Now, you made a good point. You brought up some good points regarding this one prior to us going on live. So I'll let you have this.
Because I said you both refuse. So that means that you're both on the same page, refusing not to make it work.
Isn't that good?
So you have the same goal, not to make it work.
So eventually, you will accomplish that
you
goal
will accomplish
of
that
it
goal.
not working. Yeah, you don't want to be on the same page regarding your marriage not working.
And so you look for any excuse to exit out the marriage. And so, and then there's nobody willing to make that responsibility in regards to, okay, there's something that we need to do.
I had to give Jess a bell. Y'all know how we do it here on Marriage on the Rock and Empowerment Monday, because that was that was bell worthy. Say it again once more for those who will know why I gave you a bell as it pertains to what you said, both being on the same page.
Right, because I'm saying that you both be on the same page, whereby you both have the same goal in mind in regards to refusing not to make things work. And so what you said, that so you're going to eventually accomplish that goal.
Because there's power in agreement. And we only perceive that to be true in a positive aspect. But if you agree, when 4 people agree to rob a bank, they're going to accomplish at least attempting to rob it. They may not be successful in the end result. But if they agree to rob First Federal, then they're going to be successful in at least their attempt. But we have to understand that agreement brings about manifestation, whether it's regarding something negative outside of the will of God or positive within the will of God. And so if you both are on the same page as it pertains to refusing to make things work, that's the sign that you won't be married long. Because there is no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because sometimes it's just that one person, that spouse, whether it be that husband or that wife, that is saying, okay, I want to make this work. But this is saying that it's both. It's the wife and the husband that is wanting to exit possibility out of the marriage.
That's good. So that's number 8. All right.
We rolling, we moving.
Number 7. Now, where's my comments? I see the comments actually in Facebook, but I don't see my comments popping up here in this apparatus, so I can share it with you all, because some great comments are coming in. But number 7, hopefully this apparatus will work.
You find excuses
number
to
7,
avoid going home.
Find excuses. This, I'm telling you, is a big one. Even though it's number 7, for many it's a big one. You have the gentleman here. It's dark. The sun is set.
Yeah, work.
He's at work. There's another desk next to him that's empty. The person is gone. Listen, it's probably 7, 8 o'clock, and he is knee deep in it.
Yes, and he don't need to. He could have checked out long time
because he is avoiding.
Don't want to go home.
Go home. Now, this is very true. I've worked with individuals. You know, most of you who know me, you know, I'm in ministry. I'm bivocational. Been in ministry 29 years this year. I've been in the Air Force 22 years, October, 22 years of this year. And I have seen this. There are individuals, friends of mine, co-workers, men and women alike, that volunteer for long-term deployments.
Oh, yeah.
And literally new assignments out of the country, where in some instances, depending on where you are assigned in the country, or depending on the country that you're assigned to, your family can't accompany you. They can't,
And
because
exactly.
so they purposely choose
They
assignments
get a break.
whereby their family
They
can't
free.
accompany, because they avoid going home, and they
Right.
find any reason, any excuse. And it's not always men,
Oh no.
it's women. Mary got a crisis, or my sister has a crisis or something. And so if this is happening,
It's a sign.
that's a sign that there is reason beyond what your
Right.
spouse is telling you,
Yes.
that they have to stay late, that they can't come home. It's not that they can't come home.
Right.
They don't want
They don't want
to come home.
They don't.
All right. Anything else you want to add there? I don't know what's going on with my apparatus.
It's not.
My comments are not coming up, so I can't share. You all can see it on Facebook, but I want to share it with those of you
No, you
who are
brought up a
watching
good
on
point.
YouTube.
You brought
But
up a
yeah.
good point in regards to that. They'd
All right.
rather be at work than home.
Yeah, Mom said someone has to fight for the marriage, which is true. And Mom, I go further. Both of them, and we talked about this early on, both have to fight for your marriage. Because really, the truth of the matter is, if there is, and now we know God can intervene, and there are times that the Lord may give that burden of intercession, that burden of fighting and prayer to a particular spouse. But in most instances, it takes both of you to fight, because there is responsibility that you both have. And so if I'm just okay, you fight, you pray, and you fast, and you do all the work to pull the marriage together, that's a sign that really I don't even want to be in it. Because if I don't have interest, go ahead.
But then you have some couples who, you may have the wife who is saved, and then you may have the husband who is not saved. So she may be praying, and God may be, okay, you better pray. And
Right. And I made that
for
point. Yeah. Yeah. So we're not saying that there are circumstances where that doesn't happen, because the other spouse may not know how to fight
Right.
to win. They may not know how to fight right.
Right.
They may not know how to fight effectively.
Right.
Exactly. All right, let's move, because time is winding down.
Oh.
Number 6, you get attracted to other people. Y'all see Miss Thing
My.
slipping her number, and she's all smiling and grinning. And young man, he has a little smile, a little smirk.
I see
Well,
him.
in this
I
instance,
see him over there.
it's where you're not purposely looking for someone else, but because you are not addressing the turbulence in which your marriage is experiencing, someone else who picks up on the fact that there is trouble in paradise,
and she's willing to listen, he, vice versa.
And she could be saying, hey, they could be co-workers, or they could be students at the college, in the classroom, and met in the library. And she said, well, you don't see yourself the past couple of weeks in class.
Let me treat you to something.
And then he begins to share. And then she said, well, if you ever want to talk outside of the classroom, here's my number. Give me a call. And so when you find yourself being attracted to other people, that's a sign. That's a sign. Right. Somebody will go, that's not, I'm a man, or I'm a woman, and I'm, so there's nothing wrong with being attracted to somebody else. Listen,
no sir.
Listen, David took one look.
No sir. Right.
And that one look took him out
to something else.
So we can't avoid what we can't fail to take seriously, to at least entertain the possibility of something. You can't label everything as insignificant or of no threat.
Right, because that attraction can lead to
Right.
something that seemingly we think is innocent, but then it may lead to something else.
So you cannot
right,
assume every little thing has little or no threat, because listen, small dogs bite too. And that's all I'm gonna say there.
Well,
number 5. All right, we're down to the wire. Number 5. You think about a life without your spouse. You see Mary and Johnny here. They are in daydream, or they're in they're daydreaming. They're in fairyland,
and they may not be dreaming about.
But hold on, I want them to see. You see that rift between them, indicating that they're thinking not about each other. They're not thinking about life together. They're thinking about life without. But go ahead, finish your point.
No, but I was about to say they may not be thinking about in regards to being with somebody else, but just being single.
That's true. That's true.
I just want to be by myself.
Yeah. Thinking about life without your spouse, not always being with somebody else.
Right.
It's just being by yourself.
Yes.
You know,
be with somebody else.
And that's a sign. And if these thoughts come up in conversation, that's a sign.
Right.
I should have stayed single. You know. I shouldn't have accepted your proposal. I should have gave you a ring back. These, come on. These are markers. These are signs that there's an underlining.
Got to pay attention to that
situation.
Right.
There's an underlining, undiscussed, undiscovered, undisclosed something that you're not addressing.
Your mind drifting.
Number 4. You both complain a lot.
All the time?
All the time. As our grandfather said, all the time. All the time. Every time you open your mouth.
Yes.
COMPLAIN comes out.
When you criticize.
Complaint comes out. And you're critical.
Each other. Nothing is good.
You never had anything good to say.
Nothing.
You know, wife buys a new dress. How much was it? You spend too much money.
You say, oh,
you know,
as always.
You go right to again. You said what did you say?
As always.
No, before that, you said you
nothing.
You didn't say you look beautiful, right? You didn't address the positive.
Oh yeah, right.
You didn't address the good thing.
Right.
You went straight for the fire starter. You went straight for the gasoline, kerosene. Yeah, and it's constant.
Right.
That's a sign. That's a sign that your marriage is on the rocks, not the rock.
The rocks.
Number 3. Sometimes you don't argue at all. Now, this is a big one that's overlooked.
Anything, right.
Y'all see, she's on one side. They're on the same couch. She's on one side, and she looks as though she's engaged somewhere other than with him in her thoughts on TV. He's over there in the corner. If there is no confrontation at all, or there are long periods, that's a sign, because you don't want to have any type of verbal communication
at all.
So you just ignore it. That's the sign that you're on the verge.
And I think that's where at a point whereby you said, I don't care.
Right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
In regards to this relationship.
Exactly. We see your comments. We love your comments. We'll respond to them. I don't know why they're not showing in the platform that we're streaming from. We see them actually in Facebook, but we don't see them. They stop popping up. And I don't know.
The grass is green on the other side.
Exactly. Exactly. Listen, and if the grass is greener on the other side, that's because they maintain their grass. That's because they are dutiful in what's required to have green grass. And in some, Dad done pushed the button. And in some instances, it's not green grass. It is green. What is the turf? From afar, from a distance, it looks real, but it's back to that facade. It's a facade.
And you don't know what's going on behind.
Grass is green year round.
Exactly. You don't know what's going on.
And we live in Colorado, whereby we experience a winter. You know good and well grass dies.
Exactly.
So obviously it's turf.
Right.
Huh? Good. All right. Number 2. because we're getting ready to close. Number 2, dear,
You argued over silly things.
just anything.
The simplest thing.
You left the toilet seat down. Well, you didn't fall through.
Right. Right.
Maybe I had something on my mind. I wasn't thinking. Because there have been times that I'm good at it because I was raised, you know, by my mother. So she raised 3 boys. So we were trained young age to keep the toilet seat down, you know, and not to
almost fell in.
Sprinkle the toilet
almost
seat.
Fell in,
know?
y'all. Almost fell in.
But you?
Yes.
When?
You left the
Confession is coming out. I didn't know that.
I did tell you that.
Oh.
Almost.
But we didn't have no argument. We laughed.
Lord,
we laughed. So you know, I laughed. I said, "Oh, it did just
trying to take me out."
But it didn't work. It didn't work. With God, with the devil, well, it wasn't the devil because I wasn't trying to do anything deliberately. So. But there, you know, something my mind could have been elsewhere.
Right.
You know. Right. So you.
Who told you to turn the fan off? Or why
you turned the fan off? Or
just something simple like that.
You didn't put the milk on the left side in the refrigerator. Just stupid stuff. If you are fighting and arguing over silly, frivolous, insignificant things.
Like chocolate.
Well, see, I've been married a long time now, so if I buy me a piece of chocolate, I just go ahead and buy her a piece.
I like chocolate.
I know how that goes. But if you're just arguing over silly, frivolous things, that's a sign. That's a sign. All right. Number 1, the big one. Number 1, here we go, drum roll. You become physically and emotionally distant. You see them?
It's a big one.
And when you get to this stage where you have that much of a wedge in between you all, divorce court is right around the corner.
And you're living in the house, but you're in different worlds, 2 different worlds. And you're living like roommates, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. But even roommates interact in most cases.
In some cases,
sometimes. But when there's no interaction, when you are this, and I said this off stage, as it were, emotional distance always precedes physical distance. Okay?
Right.
Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. So when you start to distance yourself emotionally and mentally, then the physical distance is an ultimate inevitable manifestation of the mental and emotional distance. Right. And divorce happens the same way. The literal divorce is the manifestation of the mental divorce, of the emotional divorce that has already
become
taken
disconnected.
Place. Yep.
Disconnection takes place.
Disconnection takes place. Yep. So those are the 15 signs that your marriage is on the rock. And if you identify with any of these signs and you want your marriage to transition from the rocks to the rock, seek help.
Right. Yes.
Seek counsel.
Yes.
And not solely from a spiritual perspective from your pastor, because not all pastors are licensed counselors. Many of them don't even, some of them do now because we have wised up. But they're not professional counselors.
Right.
And so
there's nothing wrong with
there's nothing wrong with seeking professional help, clinical help
at all.
You know, get the spiritual, of course, but sometimes we have to connect it with the clinical so that we can be helped wholly, holistically, and thoroughly.
Yes. Like we said in the beginning, there is hope. So if you are going through any of these signs in your marriage, don't feel as though, okay, well, then I got to get a divorce or no, there is hope.
That's right. That's right. Tonight's broadcast was to help you identify the issues you may be having so that you can avoid divorce.
Right.
But you don't avoid divorce by avoiding these issues.
Right.
See, you avoid these issues, you push yourself further and closer to divorce. If you want to avoid divorce and literally remove it from the table, then you have to be honest with your spouse and yourself as it pertains to the turbulence that you're experiencing.
Finding the root issue. What is the cause? The reason
reason. No.
Don't start.
Peeling back the onion
Right.
and finding out. Well,
Yes.
that's all we have for you tonight.
Yes. Thank
This
you for
has been,
interacting
we
with
appreciate your
us.
interaction. I apologize
Love
for my
that.
apparatus. It stopped showing Facebook comments. Don't know why. Hopefully it will rectify because we wanted to share it with those of you on YouTube as well. But share this, share this, share this.
Yes.
And we want you to connect with us. We have some great things planned
Oh, yes.
for Marriage on the Rock. My wife and I, we talk, we collaborate, and we throw ideas around on a regular. We're still rolling it out and
So come
getting it
along.
out
Come
there.
along with us.
Come along with
Yes.
us. Ride with us as we do marriage God's
God's
way.
way.
So share. And as I was about to say, connect with us. The way you can do that is there on your screen. Text MOT Rock to 54244. That will put you in our database, and you will never miss anything that's happening and transpiring. Because again, we have some great things that are on the horizon
You want to be in the
with
know.
Marriage on the Rock with CT and Jessica. So
Yes.
you definitely want to be in the know. All right. Let us know your thoughts as it pertains to tonight. Let us know your thoughts in regards to what you want us to tackle and to discuss in further Marriage on the Rock broadcast. And we will respond to you. Until next.
Thank you again.
Until next time. Thank you.
Out
Love
with
you.
us.
Have
Love
a great
you.
weekend.
Yes.
And remember, do marriage God's way. Because there ain't no other way.
Ain't no other way.